Alright, I've been printing out some research material I've come up with for boots, coming up with the style of spurs that would have been worn in the 1800s. And these are typical inexpensive spurs that would have been used by cowpunchers back in the 1880s and 1890s. They don't look like modern day spurs, or the attachments. All these are from that period that I've got here. But anyway, this is a close-up of that type of spur, and it was a simple spur, cheap spur, and it did the job. And that's all the cowboy really needed. He wasn't out trying to impress the cows, he was just trying to get them herded. So anyway, that's what I'm going to start on today. I'm also going to lower the top of the boot a little bit, because I've been looking at boots worn by the guys, and I've noticed one thing. The top of the boots, in most cases, were down just about, maybe that much lower. So I'm going to lower the boot a little bit more, and that will mean adjusting the pants a little bit more too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Cowboys felt the high heels provided more certain footing in the stirrups than did other types, and the thin soles of the boots provided a better feel for the stirrup. Some said the high heel provided sure footing when roping a foot as well, because the heels could be dug in and give the cowboy polka a solid stance. Others were not so quick to praise the boots, pointing out that the puncher who lost his mount and walked back to the ranch was usually near crippled upon arrival. The first cowboy boots were made by craftsmen such as Justin and Heyer, who set up shop along the Texas Trail. Later versions sported frills like the pointed toe and the floppy grips called mule ears, which made the boots easier to pull on. Earlier boot tops were often red or blue and featured a simple design like a horseshoe or a star. The fanciest boots were made after the 1880s and featured soft leather applique designs and decorative stitching. The stitching provided additional durability and supported the tall boots. Boots were originally worn with the cowboy's pant legs tucked inside to provide protection from brush. Later, though, boots were worn with pants outside. Cowboy could get a boot mail order kit, which provided examples of styles the puncher could order, as well as instructions on measuring and tracing their foot. The catalog saved the cowboy a long trip to town, but he often had to wait as long as 6 months for his new footwear to arrive. The earliest cowboy boots were Civil War surplus boots, about 1860. I'm pushing out the knee just a little bit more than the rest of the pants leg, only because if you kneel down, what the natural reaction is the knee part of the pants will stretch out and actually pull out of the boot. I'm using my Sculpting wire tools here, and one side is smooth and one side is a serrated edge, so you can get a nice texturing of the clay. I think what I'm going to do is blend it just a little bit better with the silicone tip tools from sculpttools.com. The Sculpting tools I get from sculpturedepot.net. And the reason I'm giving that information is because some people may have a question as to where I get my tools and which ones I'm using. And the silicone tips have their particular qualities, and the wire tools have theirs. And you can use them both in combination, and boy, it really makes a big difference in how good your sculpture comes out. Alright, I'm going to get busy on this boot over here now, and I want to do the boots before I actually start doing the spurs. Now, I don't know how much of this boot's going to show up once the shirt is dangling, but I'm going to go ahead and sculpt it anyway, just to make sure I've got it all here, just in case. It's kind of interesting that cowboys could order their boots through kits and have them special made. It reminds me that over in Virginia City, a lot of those homes over there, those wood frame homes, were ordered through Spiegel catalog, and you could literally pick out a house design for $1,800-$1,900 and get the whole house shipped to you numbered, and you could build your own house, frame house, from the kit. A lot of things were convenient for people back then because there weren't the stores they have now, and there weren't the construction companies to build their homes. They sort of had to do it themselves. Of course, at some point, I'm sure people who needed work and had experience building eventually started building things, but if you didn't have a boot maker within 300 miles of your ranch where you were working, you sort of had to do it by the kit, because there weren't a lot of Justin boot stores out there. Just weren't. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is the style I'm doing here. And as you can see on the outside, it's got this big piece of leather with two slots for the two pegs on the buttons on the spur itself. It buckles over. The buckle, I'm assuming, is on this side, and this side here, same thing as this side, and it goes up and through the buckle, and the strap comes down here. So that's how you connect the right and left side of the spur, and that's what I'm going to create right now. Is that shape, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on one, and then draw it out on paper, trace what I did so I can match exactly the two sides. I think I'm going to run that through the wax and roller. Okay. Yeah, just like that, and then up like that. trim it. They're not fancy spurs, but functional. Well, that's going to have to be it for today. Just got a phone call. There was a produce truck that overturned on the highway, and there's a whole bunch of produce that's available if we want it, because once the boxes hit the road, they consider them unsellable, even if they aren't. And so I'm going to go over to my neighbors and take a look at the stuff from the... So I got this Spurs started, and I'll pick this up tomorrow and see how far we can get. It's starting to get there, guys. Starting to get there. So that's the beginning of the Spurs. All right, good night.